Hello, everybody. How are you today? Happy Friday. It is a happy Friday here. Hope it's happy Friday where you are. Hi, Travis and Pin. Pin, I forgot what your name is. Sorry, you'll have to remind me again. Hi, Petka. Hi, Carla. And Auntie Michael, also known to me as JZ. It's great to see you guys today. Hope you're having a good day. It is Drama Free Friday after all, so it's got to be a good day if it's Drama Free Friday. Sorry, I have to get up here close. There's Sherry. Ina. Sorry, I'm going to have to figure out how to enlarge my print so I don't have to get quite so close to the screen of my chat and keep my computer out of the way all at the same time. It's always a trick, you know. Hi, Marion. Hi, Carol. Welcome in, everybody. Hi, Linda. Welcome in. And it's really good to have everybody here. It is. It's been a crazy busy week for me. I don't know about you guys, but it's been super busy. Thought I was going to be a little bit... hi, Mildred. I thought it was going to be a little bit later than I actually ended up being. So, yay! Thought I was going to be a couple minutes late getting started. Anyway, we didn't. So it's been another hot one here this week. I don't know if it's hot all over the world or not, but I know in the upside down land, down under, it's not. But here it has been super warm. And so everybody's, we went from spring to the dead of summer. I mean, just, you know, nobody was prepared for it. None of us. I'm dressed today for messy stuff, so I got on my super old stuff, including my old Mizzou t-shirt. Hi, Kate. Yeah, so today we're going to play around with alcohol inks, so that'll be fun. Last weekend, my granddaughter was here for the weekend and a couple extra days, so that was really nice to be able to see her. So if she happens to be watching, hey! And hi, Ian. It's cold there. Oh boy, I'll tell you, we wish for a little cold. Ian, do you pronounce your name Ian or Ian? You'll have to spell it out for me. Hi, Deborah. You'll have to spell it out for me with, say, long I or something, so I know. Because I like to try to pronounce people's names properly. And Heidi, hey Heidi, good to see you. We've got a nice group coming in. I'm just rattling on for a minute till everybody kind of gets their chairs and gets settled in. Yeah, so my granddaughter was here. She was finishing her field work for her master's degree. She already graduated with her master's, but she had some stuff. Ian, okay, thank you. She had some things she had to finish up, and so she had to do that in Colorado, where her field work was, and then she came back here where she'd been living and going to school, and she had to, you know, shut down some things here before she moved on to her real job, her first real bona fide job, which is coming up starting in about 2 weeks. So, yes. So, can you go along with me? You can go along with me any place you want to go. Hi, Kia. Hi, Karen. Boy, I haven't seen Karen Billy Floss in ages. Good to have you here. Nice to have you join us. And anybody that I happen to miss, please feel welcome. And I'm glad you're here. So anyway, it was kind of a busy weekend last weekend with, you know, doing stuff, just being available, making sure there was food in the house, you know, all that kind of stuff. But it was really good to spend time with her. And so it was a bit of a tearful goodbye, I have to say, because she's headed off to the world. Yeah, she's headed off to the world. All right, so we're going to do alcohol ink today. Does that sound good? I hope it does, because we're going to play. Yeah, in that case, let's go to the beach and I have a cocktail. That's what Linda says. I think I'm going to have to settle for tea. So how many of you people here in the live chat, how many of you have worked with alcohol inks? Are there some of you that – really enjoy them, or how do you like them? And hi, Janice. Janice says she's glad I'm going to be using alcohol inks. Hi, Sherry. Heidi's up for the beach and cocktail. Uh-oh. I see the technical department has arrived and I have illegal fluids by the computer equipment. I'm caught. Red-handed. So there's some, Marion's used them. Janice wants to know how to use them. Travis has not used them. Do you have them, Travis? So there's several people that would like to know about the inks. Well, what we're going to do is we're going to play, because I do not consider myself an expert by any means. So how's the technical department doing today? I'm waiting to see how my technical department, who's on the West Coast, how he's doing. Travis says nope, he's avoided them to keep his hands clean. Right, Travis. Why don't I believe that, Travis? Why don't I believe that? So, just a lot of things going in the chat. Okay, all good in the technical end. Okay. A lot of people chatting about the fear of alcohol inks. Do they stain your hands? Absolutely. Absolutely. But they're not too bad. I mean, they do come off. But yeah, they do stain your hands. Yes, they do. So, hey, Sandy Jones. So if you are one who has to work out in the world and the way your hands look is important, I would give yourself a day in between. Like do it on a weekend or something. Hi, Allie. Hey, Ruth. Your niece Karen is here. Oh, good. Ruth is my #1 cheerleader. Okay, so I'm gonna put the illegal fluids away. Since we've all properly chatted and we've got a nice group here already, we'll get rolling. So let me get rid of the illegal fluids. Because I really don't want to knock those over on the table. Okay. So it is Drama Free Friday, and welcome to Drama Free Friday. And the reason we call it Drama Free Friday is because there's enough drama in the world, and just for a couple of hours we're just going to act like everything's perfect, because you know what, for those 2 hours right here in my studio, which by the way, welcome to my studio, whether you're here live or whether you're watching the recording. Welcome into my world and my studio. I'm sure you think that I never do anything but sit in this chair at this table, because you always see the same things around me. However, hi, Kat. So it's Drama Free Friday. So we're going to be playing around with the alcohol inks, and I have a couple of brands of alcohol inks, so we're going to play with those today. So before we get started, I'm going to tell you that one of the things you can do to help yourself out with alcohol inks, because they are highly staining to your skin, is to use a skin cream like this one. This is called Gloves in a Bottle. It's a shielding lotion. This does not stop chemicals from penetrating into your skin. You know, they will penetrate into your skin. You know, if they're highly toxic chemicals, this would not be something that would prevent that. But it does put a layer on your skin that does help stuff release from it. So, I would encourage you to do something like this. If you can remember to do it, do this ahead of time. And all the stuff that I'm talking about today, or most of it, you'll find in the description box below the video. If you just look in there, there's links to all the stuff. So I try to do that each week. So when you have questions for things, because I know people have questions about where to get things or what they are, they want just more information, I try to include that in the description box below the video during the live chat, so you can look at that. This is one of my, I've tried a couple of these different shielding products. This one I really like. This one, actually, the first bottle of it I got at a quilt store, and the reason I trusted it was because it was at a quilt store where they sell really expensive fine cotton fabric. And so I thought, well, if they use this with fabric, then it won't come off in fabric. It's not going to come off on my artwork. And that's been my experience so far. It does not come off on my artwork and stuff. And it doesn't leave my hands feeling greasy or like there's a coating on them. So now, earlier today, I was working with alcohol inks, and I did have a layer of the gloves in a bottle on my skin. And I have washed my hands. This was really deep dark blue a little bit ago. So it does take most of it off, but I'm not going to guarantee you that it's going to take all of it off. So anyway, I would recommend that you start with something like this. And please excuse my cruddy mat that I have on my table. This is a really old Ranger mat. Really old. And all of this stuff here that you see, this is from alcohol ink. So if you have a surface that you value, don't start using alcohol inks on it right away without putting something else on it, because the alcohol ink is highly staining. So are Dylusions alcohol inks? No, they're not. They're not. Those are water-based. The alcohol inks are alcohol-based. So, yes, and Kat says she wears gloves when she uses alcohol inks. That's another solution. Absolutely. You can wear gloves. I just have a really hard time, my dexterity is not very good when I have gloves on, and besides that, they make my hands sweat. So, bleh. So what I have here, this is, as I said, this is a Ranger Ink Essentials nonstick mat. And I've attached it to, this is a board under here. I don't know if you can hear that, but there's a board under there. And I've just used a really super heavy duct tape. This was the Gorilla brand of, it's not called duct tape, but it's the Gorilla brand tape. And put that on there. I lost about probably an inch of the craft mat because this had happened to be the size board that we had. Anyway, but that way I can pick it up and move it on and off my surface. So when I'm doing really messy stuff like alcohol inks or embossing powders or any of that kind of stuff, that is what I use is this board. So can you use water-based for this? No, you really can't. They don't do the same thing at all. So if you don't have alcohol inks, then I'd say just watch and just see, because you might think they're intriguing. You might go, I'll never do that in a million years. So why have them if you don't think you'll use them? All right, first of all, I'm going to show you some of the things I've done. Well, let's start with the book. This is a book. I belong to a book club at a local store. It's local to me. And in the book club, this is the book that we are working through. And so this is sorry, I got distracted by the chat. It's like, hello, and all of a sudden I'm caught off guard reading chat. Anyway. Okay, back to the book. So this is the book that we're working through, and I have to admit I have not worked through very many of the exercises yet because I've been busy with other things. But I thought I would give you a peek through this book because it is eye candy. I'm not kidding you. It is eye candy. It's Pigments of Your Imagination, which I love the title of. Pigments of Your Imagination, Creating with Alcohol Inks. It is by Cathy Taylor, and there is a link to this book in the description box in the below the video. So these effects that you're going to see as I page through some of this, which this book came out in 2015, just so you know. As I page through some of the pages, you're going to just be overwhelmed with goodness. Alcohol inks now are very bright. There is a whole set of earth tone alcohol inks as well, but what we're doing here, you know, probably even the earth tones are pretty bright. So she talks about how she got started and then just some of the different techniques. So we're just going to page through some of these. Some of my favorite pages, like this one. Hi, Shirian. Better known as Iffy to most of us. So, just to give you an idea, I like the way the book is laid out with this. I love books with the spiral spine in them because they lay flat. So, especially things that are highly technique driven, then you can just, you know, open the book and it lays flat. But see here, this is more of the earth tone things. So special effects and stencils and all different kinds of things. Working with wax paper and resists of different kinds. She uses things like modeling paste and gel mediums, and this is using contact paper and masking fluids, all different kinds of things. Beautiful stuff. It is yummy. It is, and then she goes into doing what she has called inkscapes. It's where she's actually creating artwork with the alcohol inks, which I have not tried this yet, but I tell you, this is fascinating to me because my experience so far with alcohol inks is kind of letting them do their own thing, you know? Are there any particular brands that you recommend? As far as I know, in my experience, the two brands I've worked with are the Ranger Adirondack alcohol inks and the Jacquard Piñata inks. I'm going to show them both to you today. And alcohol ink is not the cheapest thing on the planet. I'm not going to lie and try to tell you that it's an inexpensive supply. But there's nothing that does what alcohol ink does. So, you know, there's not too much I can tell you about saving money when it comes to alcohol inks, because they tend to be a little pricey. But they are fun. I mean, who could not love this? I have not achieved this yet. I have not achieved that yet. But I aspire to achieve to this. So, also, if there's anything that you want to get my attention about, to say or ask a question, please put it in caps, because that will catch my attention, and that would be great. Okay, so all different kinds of things in here. So it's a lovely book with a lot of technique. If you are interested in alcohol ink, this would be kind of like a textbook about what you can do with alcohol inks. Alright, so I'm going to show you a few things I've done with these alcohol inks, and I've also used them in my canvases that I used to do back in 2012. I did a project. I set myself a goal and I did a canvas every day for, I got to get a piece of paper to put over this cruddy mat for a minute. Because my mat is so nasty that it makes everything look dingy. So we're going to put this on here. Cover it up, right? Just don't see it. Just don't see it. Don't look at it. Anyway, so I did the project where I set a goal for myself that I was going to do a canvas every day, and for a year. I didn't make it a year, but I made it 6 months. Hi, Vicky. And so I used alcohol inks on the canvases as well, but you know, that was pretty much my first experience of playing around with them. This is done with a stencil, and this is also done with a stencil, and this is the same stencil but different colors of ink. If you can't see it, it ain't there. That's right, Sandy Jones. That's right. Well, one time, I have to tell you this. I digress for a minute. One time my little niece was here. She's actually my great niece. She was here with her mom for something. And she was here they were here for a couple of days, and we were in my living room, which we had a problem with the ceiling that needed to be replaced in a section and stuff. And it was irritating me, because it was like, it's that old popcorn ceiling, and it was just being icky. And I was complaining about it, and my little niece, who at that time was 3, and she called me Gam for Graham, and she says, you know how little kids are just playing along and doing their own thing, and all of a sudden she stopped. You think they're not paying any attention to you, because I was talking to her mother, and she stopped and she looked up at me and she says, Gam, just don't look up. That was her solution. Just don't look up. So, yeah, if you don't see it, it's not there. That's right. Okay. So meanwhile, back at the alcohol ink samples. So this one is done with everything I'm showing you here is done with a stencil, okay? And so is this one. And this you might or might not be able to see real well. I'm going to tip it there. There you go. Okay, so this one has stencils in the background, and then I went back and stenciled the gold leaves on top of it. So, yeah, got a couple kinds of stencil things going on there. And I have another one, but I don't know what I did with it. It must be stuck in the book somewhere. Anyway, so those are all alcohol inks only, done with stencils. And then let's take a look at some things you like better than other things. This is one that I wasn't terrifically excited about, but it's coming around. I mean, this part over here has had nothing done to it but the alcohol inks. And over here I've started playing with some pens to see what will happen if I use pen. Will it show up and all that. By the way, this is, and we're going to play with different surfaces. This is glossy cardstock that I've used here. This is photo paper. So this is HP photo paper, glossy photo paper. This one is, let me see, this is transparent Yupo paper. And this is kind of similar in that I've started the process, and to here, that's how it was originally, and then from here over I played with some pens. So I'm going to just show them to you this way, then I'll give you close-up shots, okay? So this is transparent Yupo paper, which is spelled Y-U-P-O. And this one is white Yupo paper. Yupo comes in 2 different kinds, white and translucent. So this is the white version. And this is also the white Yupo paper. So I'm going to, as I said, I'm going to show all these to you this way, then I'm going to give you some close-up shots. Yupo is a synthetic paper. Okay, this is Yupo. There are links in the description box below the video. You can click on those links. There's a link to the white and also the translucent, and there'll be more information there where you can read about it if you want to. Yeah, so there's links below the video or in the description box. So this is Yupo. It is a synthetic paper. It is 100% polypropylene. So the alcohol inks work the best on things that are non-porous. Now this is vellum. So this is just some scrapbooking vellum. And hopefully you can see that. Now you have to know, I wrote on the back of this with a pencil very lightly. It says vellum. What else did I write on there? And piñatas. So these are the piñata inks. And anything that you put on there is going to show through. Okay. Did I see Mary Beth Shaw's streams on Facebook using stencils and alcohol inks? I did not. But I bet that's wonderful, because Mary Beth Shaw does great stuff. But I did not. This one is also Piñata inks, and this is, well, it's all Piñata except there is silver in the middle, and the silver is one of the Ranger Adirondack alcohol inks, and it's also done on vellum. And here's another one on vellum. This is, all of this is the Piñata inks. The Piñata inks are different, in my experience, my opinion anyway. I think they're different than the Adirondack alcohol inks. Not a lot, but a little bit. So this is also on vellum. And then I took one of those flower shapes, and this is on the vellum, and I attached it to a card front. I am not a great card maker by any means, but I find that doing cards, especially on stream, it's easy for me to show you doing a technique of some kind and a way to use it. And so you can put it on a card, and it allows you, if you're using bigger pieces of your artwork, you know, creating bigger pieces and you don't like them, you know, or you don't like the whole piece, the whole artwork that you did, the whole page, for example, you can always cut it down and you can do something with it. And so what I did is I took exactly one of these little vellum pieces and figured out where I wanted to cut it down, so I cut some off each side, and then I used my sewing machine and I stitched it onto this card base, the colored card base. So we may play around with some of that today. Okay? Yeah, they're very shiny. And they're very shiny. Okay, so I've shown you kind of the overview, so I'll give you some close-up shots so you can really see more of the vibrancy of the color, because this other camera will show you the vibrancy a little bit better. So let me get set up here first so you can really see them. Okay, so this is on vellum, so I'm going to show you, and as I tip this, you see the highly reflective quality of the inks, right? I mean, it's just about blinding. I mean, it vibrates and just about blinds you if you tip it the wrong way. Here's this one. This one has silver in the middle. These are the Piñata inks, except for the silver around here in this area. The silver, that's an Adirondack silver mixative, it's called. This is also on vellum. All these are on vellum. So I'm trying to get it where you can see how reflective they are without blinding you. So this has got gold in the middle, gold and black added after the alcohol inks were on there. You can also use, if you have Copic markers, you can also use the refills from the Copic marker or any of the other alcohol-based markers. You can use those to do these techniques as well. So you can see over here, this is where I've done some of the playing around with a white pen to see how that would work and would it stay on. And it appears to stay on once it's dry. You know, I wasn't sure if it would stay there or not. Exactly. The only way to know how it's going to work is to try it. Okay, so this is everything on here is the Adirondack inks, the Ranger Adirondack inks. And this is again the Ranger products, and you can see where I've played around with some of the white pens. So I used white pen on that. I particularly like this one a lot. We're going to try to replicate this. Alcohol inks are real tough to replicate effects. We're going to try it. So this is one where I was playing with white ink pens and also black ink pens. So you can see right in here, that's black. Those lines, those are black Sharpies. So every place you see the little black lines, those are done with black Sharpies. The white pen, I played with a couple of different white pens. This one up here is the Jelly Roll white pen, and this is the white Signo pen. And then these are the stencils. Okay, so this is alcohol ink using stencils. So this is using the Mini Joyful Sunflower stencil with alcohol inks. This is the same stencil using different inks. This one I didn't like at all when I first did it. Oops, sorry, blind you. But I kind of like it now. So they kind of grow on you sometimes. This one's done with another stencil called Persian Gate, I think it is. So that's done with a stencil. And this one, this is the one that I stenciled first. I put a background on first. So there's a background in, you can kind of see it right back here. There's a background back here. You can kind of see it peeking through over here. It's not totally white. And then I use stencils to do the background, or on top of that background. And then I used another stencil to go over with the leaves, and then I used a little pen work on top of that. Okay. And then let me show you the card. So here is the card, close up, so you can see the stitching. So we'll play around with some of these and see what we get. The color saturation, there's nothing like the color saturation. There's nothing like it, yeah. Okay. So that gives you some ideas about what alcohol inks are, as far as, you know, what you can do with them a little bit. So I'm going to just set those off to the side. Hopefully I remember where I put them. Hopefully I can remember where I put them. And let's talk a little bit about the inks. The Adirondack inks, Adirondack alcohol inks, have Tim Holt's name on them, and I really like them. I have a big collection of them now, but I've collected these over a number of years because, as I said earlier, they're not the cheapest things on the planet. But I collect them a little bit at a time. Sometimes I bought them singly, and sometimes I buy them in a pack of 3. So, you know, you can have 3 colors, and you can do a lot with 3 colors. If you had 3 colors and a mixative, you could do a lot. Hi, Krissa. And Kasha. Hi, Kasha. So when you guys have a chance, would you just stick in the chat what country you're from? I'm just always interested in what countries are represented when I'm streaming. So if you would just put your country in there, and I'll try to read off the countries as I see them pop in the chat, because it's just so much fun to see where everyone is hailing from. So anyway, when you go to the Ranger site, the Ranger ink site, you can, and you look up alcohol inks, there's a little tiny thing there, some little printing, and it says something about color charts. And so you can download these color charts, and they'll come to you like this. You print them off, and then I just drop the inks in so that I can keep track of what inks I have, and also I carry this with me so I don't buy the same color again. Okay, so we got Canada. Of course, we've got the U.S., several places in Canada, Netherlands, England, New Zealand, several different places in the U.K., and another Netherlands. So that's great. That's great. It's just so much fun to see. And it seems like Chris is from Greece. Brazil. Wow. Wow, that's wonderful. I think you're the first viewer from Brazil. And I would pronounce your name, but I might do it wrong. I'll try. Adawana in Germany. Yeah, welcome everybody. It's so much fun to have an international audience. So you can, as I said, you can do this and download the color chart, and then you can drop the inks into the spots, and then it's helpful because then I carry this around with me in my book when I'm going to go looking for supplies, because then it helps me not rebuy the same thing. So it's great to have everybody here. Thank you so much. I was close enough. I just might call you Ada, which I'm sure is not even close. So this mess right here, this is my colors that I have from the Piñata colors. Now, I did go on the Jacquard, which is the brand name, the company that produces the Piñata inks, and you can print this out, which is their color chart, apparently of all the colors that are available, except Rich Gold was not on the list. I think this might not be fully updated. But this is what you can get. The colors are not very true. If you look at what I have here, that's not even close to what prints out on my printer. But this is how I did. This is just white cardstock, and I did the same thing. I just dropped some drops of ink on here, so this is 1 drop of each color. And what I did here, this company has a product that they call their Claro, C-L-A-R-O, Claro extender or color extender. And so I put the color here and then dropped some of the color extender in it because I wanted to see what it did. Well, of course, it makes it run, and that's what I was after. Okay. Hey, Julie. All right. So let's just talk about the inks a minute, just to give you kind of an overview of the inks. From Ranger, from the Adirondack line, they kind of divide their inks up into different categories. So they have the lights and they have the brights, and they have two more categories actually. Then they have the earth tones, and so I have these in a little box that I've marked earth tones. Okay, so they have those, and I specifically divided them up, and the reason is because they do tend to react differently. And as you're working with them, if you want to repeat the results, you kind of need to know which thing does what. Okay? So, there's that. Then they also have some things that they call mixatives. Okay, so this is my little category of mixatives, and that in the mixatives they have snowcap, copper, gold, pearl, and silver is languishing somewhere. Where did my silver go? It must have gotten mixed in with another category. So when we find silver, we'll put him back where he belongs, because he took a walkabout. Yeah, yes he did. And then they also have a pitch black. Now this is an alcohol ink. It's not a mixative, the pitch black, but I just like to put it in with the mixatives because that's where I know where it is. Unlike the silver, which is, oh, here it is. Silver went over in the light colors. It's trying to masquerade as a light. So this is the silver. Okay, so those are the mixatives. And hi, Sue. Hi, Josie. So these are the mixatives. And on this side right here, these are the Piñata inks. And you could tell I was trying to write in the corner, so I didn't do a very good job. So there are some plain colors in the Piñata colors, and they also have some of the golds, and I think they have silver also. I'm not sure. I don't have as many, obviously, of the Piñatas because I just started getting those. Then the Piñata line has this color extender that's called Claro, C-L-A-R-O. This is their color extender. And the Adirondack line has alcohol blending solution. They seem to do different things. I'm really pretty novice with these, and so as you can tell, I've enjoyed collecting them, but I haven't used them a whole lot. Oh, big surprise, people. So I'm going to just scoot these all up kind of out of my way. But they're up here where I can see them, and I know, which ink comes from which section. I do find that being organized when I'm working helps. I'm not always. Let's just be honest about it. By the time I finish working, I only have 6 square inches of space to work. No matter how organized I start out, it all encroaches and it comes down to where I have about 6 inches that I'm working on, you know, a 6 by 6 square. I'm lucky if I may keep it to a 12 by 12 square, but I do start out with it organized. I know everybody has that problem. It's so true. I'm glad I'm not the only one. So this is what I use a lot of the time with the alcohol inks. Not always, but a lot of the time for the backgrounds especially. This is the rectangular ink blending tool by Tim Holtz, and it's just called the ink blending tool. And you can buy the felt refills or the felt applicators, and they just stick on the bottom. This is Velcro, 1/2 of Velcro, and they stick on the bottom. Or you can just get yourself, if you want to do it more inexpensively, get yourself some white felt, and you can usually pick up a sheet, like a 9 by 12 sheet of white felt for like 20 cents, and then you just have to spend some time cutting them, which I've done it both. Depends on how cheap I'm feeling or how rushed I am for time. So, hi Cathy. Yeah. Imagine that someone would collect and doesn't use it very often. I know. It's amazing. So this is alcohol, plain rubbing alcohol. This comes in different percentages. This is 99%, there's a 91%, and a 70%. You want one of the higher percentages to use when you're working with alcohol inks if you want to do some of the effects. Some of the other things that we're going to play around with today is we're going to use some fun foam. This happened to be a door hanger that is from the kids section, and I took the bottom part of it here and cut it off, and that did used to fit there. I don't know what happened. It must have gone this way. Yes, see, like magic if you think. Put the puzzle back together. So anyway, cut the bottom off. So that's what I'm using here is fun foam. And the other thing I'm going to be using are some Q-tips or cotton buds, I think they're called in other places. So we have some of those. All right. And then I have some different kinds of papers that we're just going to play around with. Hey, Sandra. All right. Let me get a drink of tea just because I've been talking a bunch. And again, I apologize for this crappy looking mat, but I'm not going to ruin my new mat for alcohol inks when I got one I've already ruined. Sorry. I love you guys, but I'm just not going to ruin my new mat. Okay. So let's play. No guarantees as to how this is going to come out, people. No guarantees. So let's start with the alcohol ink paper. This is the glossy cardstock from Ranger. Okay. And it comes in different sizes. And this one is very convenient. It's 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. So it's convenient for some people to use in cards. And this is the Adirondack alcohol ink cardstock. And again, pretty much everything I'm using here today, I've put links in the chat or below the chat, not below the chat, below the video in the description box, so that if you want more information or if you're interested in a product, it's easy for you to do. Okay, so this is very glossy on one side. You can see it's very highly reflective, right? And it's flat or plain on the other side. You want to work on the glossy side. All right, we'll see what's going to happen here. I have no idea. All right, I have no idea. We're just going to play and see what happens. We're going to start out with a background. So I'm going to use a couple of light colors. So this is Shell Pink. This is for Sandy Jones. I'm going to put a little Shell Pink. I'm just going to leave them with the lids off. You do not have to continually recap them. I do sometimes. This is Salmon, and let's use Lemonade. So I'm going to put 3 colors together. Okay, so I got 3 colors, and I'm going to add a little bit of blending solution, just a little bit. So that's what it looks like, and there's not a lot of ink on there. And then I'm just going to pat and twist and turn the tool. And it's very pale, very light. But you want to twist and turn the tool so that you get the color to the pattern not to be the same. By that, I mean if you do it one way all the time, you're going to establish a pattern in your background. Maybe you don't want that. And alcohol ink dries. Dries and ink equals drink. Alcohol ink dries incredibly fast. I mean, this is dry. It's not dry on the tool, but it is dry on here already. Now, sometimes alcohol ink also stays sticky. So, it is a funny medium. It is not like anything else out there. Just saying, it's not. All right, let's go to another color, and let's use I'm going to use some wild plum. Now let's do red pepper. Let's do some red pepper. Okay, so I'm going to add some drops of red pepper and a little more blending solution, which just kind of helps things move around. And I'm just going to add a little bit more of that. And I usually turn the paper as well so that it kind of helps me not get a specific pattern. Okay, if it's looking too splotchy, add some more blending solution and go after it again. And the blending solution really starts blending the colors together. And when you have a cruddy surface like this, I don't pay any attention to what is happening when I go off. But do you see how it's beginning to blend? This is much more splotchy here yet. And like many things, many art forms, I have to warm up with whatever it is. So the first 2 or 3 things I do, I often don't care for. And hey, that is fine with me. All right, let's go back to something in the bright line. Pool. And I'm going to add some pool. Hi, Pablo. Yeah, what was the illegal? It was tea, actually. It was tea. And I'm going to add some more blending solution because sometimes you really need that to make it go. So this is pool. So all I'm trying to do here is just build a background of some kind. Now when your felt applicator, this little piece of felt under here, becomes too saturated with color and it's not giving you what you want, then you need to change and go to a different applicator felt. Okay, so there we've got that. Now just to show you what they do, I'm going to add a little bit of gold mixative. Now the mixatives have a mixing ball in here and you need to hear that rattling around. If you don't hear it rattling around, you know, tap it on the table or something. Hi, Rebecca. So I'm going to put just a couple of drops of gold on here. The metal mixatives go a long way, so you don't need much. And I'm going to add a little more blending solution. And we're going to add a little bit of gold here and there. Which is probably going to be hard for you guys to pick up, but I'll show it to you close up here in a minute. So I'm just after little hints of the gold. Okay, so let me show it to you. Give you a good close-up shot. Get it where the light's not going to blind you. Okay, so, and if I tip it just a little bit, you should be able to see the gold kind of show up right about there. So just little bits of gold around. Okay? All right, so that's our background. Now we could stop there. Okay? So you could stop there and use it as is, and you could punch things out of it, you could die cut things out of it, and you could, you know, go to work with your pens or whatever. But if you want to see what happens with alcohol inks, let's, as Emerald would say, let's kick it up a notch, shall we? So this is Wild Plum, one of my personal favorites. So let's just start dropping some ink on the surface. And it immediately starts doing some of its wonderfulness. Goes like so. It starts reacting with the other inks. I'm going to use some shell pink and drop in the middle of it. And you can begin to see how the colors start to move. But you can also see the background is staying, more or less staying put, right? But you can see how it moves. Barb, can you use pigment powders with alcohol inks? I don't know the answer to that. Maybe somebody in the chat knows, but I don't know the answer. I really don't. Does anybody else know? Anybody in the group, in the chat know? If you do, don't hesitate to say. I'm going to come back to the gold, and I'm going to come in and I'm going to drop some gold. So you can see what the inks start doing. They start moving, and I mean, it's just fun to watch them because they just move and change and move and change. And you go, I mean, it's just fascinating to me to sit here and watch them. And then maybe I'll put a little bit of, I'm going to drop some black in the middle of this just to see what happens. Yeah, experiment or Google, that's right. So what I'm trying to do is put one drop of black in the middle. And let it work and let it do what it's going to do. And you'll see how it's doing something completely different than it did over here. And you just don't know exactly how it's going to behave, do you? If you know, good luck, because I don't know. That is for certain. All right, let me put these back just so I can keep track of which ones go in which hole, more or less. Whoops, wrong lid. Okay. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to get a, well, let's just play with this a little bit more. Let's use this piece of Fun Foam, and I'm going to get a color. Let's do a contrasting color so you guys can really see it. So we'll go to Bottle. This is a dark green. And I'm going to put some on the edge of this. Okay, so I've just used it right on the edge. And then what I want to do is add some lines. And when it stops making marks, then you have to reload your tool. And it dries out very quickly. So just adding some lines here and there. Okay, so that's how you can make lines. So I just put it on the edge, and when I'm working with it, I'm just touching the very edge, the very corner of that. Yep, you can use a straw to blow the ink around. You sure can. Get some cool effects with that. And now what I'm going to do, I'm going to see what this will do. I'm going to take the gold mixative, shake it again. You got to always shake it. Or actually, let's go to the Piñata gold. So this is rich gold. It also has a mixing ball in it. So you got to mix it up. Shake it up. Shake it, baby. Shake it. And it has a different tip. The tip is much bigger than it is on the Ranger inks. And I'm going to put this on a Q-tip. And I'm going to touch the middle of these, whatever they are. Just to break up some of that black. Okay, and so, you know, we could do more. We don't have to do as much. We can add more forms. We can add more drops. You can do all kinds of stuff, but we're just going to let that one be. Call it good. Okay, so you kind of got the idea. Okay, let's use another piece of the Ranger alcohol ink glossy cardstock. And I'm just going to drop some of the Piñata inks on it. Yeah, Jacquard makes the Piñata. Jacquard makes the Piñata. So these are Piñata inks, and this color is Santa Fe Red. Okay, so we have some Santa Fe Red going on. And then I'm going to go to Sun Bright Yellow. Hi, Rach. Nice to see you. So I'm going to drop Sun Bright Yellow in the middle of these. Sorry, I'm getting a message on my computer. Okay. Sorry, I've got a message on my computer I'm looking at. Okay. Alright, I got one of my cameras that decided I got one of my cameras that decided it was going to have a fit. So we're just going to go with it. We're going to pretend it's fine. Sometimes technology is great, and other times technology is a little crazy. How long do the inks stay reactive before they dry? No, I didn't get a sunburn. It's something going on with the computer, Mr. Race. Yeah. So there you go. We're just rolling with it. It suddenly changed my skin color. We're just gonna roll with it. And if you guys have, if it doesn't look so good, you will just always wish it did. The inks dry fairly quickly, but they sometimes stay sticky for a while, so I like them to sit like overnight before I do much with them. Alright, so we got that going on, so let's add something else. Let's see what happens when we add some, let's add some shell pink to it and just see what. Now let's add something with a real contrast of color. How about some cranberry? We'll see what happens when we add cranberry. So the inks react to each other, and you get these really interesting effects because they start pushing. They get very pushy and they start pushing each other around. So, yeah. It's interesting to see what they do, isn't it? Yeah, looks like. You know, Mr. Tech Support. You know how these computers do. I'm sitting here minding my own business, and it decides to come up with some goofy message about buses and ports and, you know, stuff like that. And I'm like, I'm busy streaming, computer. I don't have time to deal with your bus rides and your ports and your whatever you got going on. Okay, so we added cranberry to that. Let's add another one. Let's I'm just about out of butterscotch, which is one of my very favorite colors in the world. So let me try one drop and see what it does. Because if it's not going to be good, I'm not going to waste it on this. No. Okay, it's not making enough of a difference to waste my butterscotch alcohol ink. There's not enough of it. So let's go for the gold. Let's go for the gold. We're going to add some rich gold. This is also the Piñata color. So we're going to put one drop, or try to put one drop. Gold makes everything better. Gold is magic with these alcohol inks, I gotta tell you. We're not going to do any of the big special effects today. We're just going to play mostly with all the things that we've got going on. So I'm going to kind of let this one sit and just set it to the side and let it dry. I don't know. The reason I have some done ahead is so that we can use those if we want to later today, because some of these with the metallics will take a little bit longer to dry. So I'm just going to set aside. So those two were done on the gloss paper. So let's do a piece of Yupo paper. Is the focus off? It shouldn't be, but Sandy doesn't like gold, she likes silver. Well, we'll do something with silver. Okay, so this is Yupo paper. The Yupo paper is a synthetic paper. It is 100% polypropylene, and this is the white version. It does come in the translucent as well. Okay, so this is the white version. All right, so let's see, what else do I want to do here? Oh, I want to just drop on some alcohol inks. So we're just going to put some inks on. Let me go back over here to one of these. Let's go to the Sapphire Blue. Okay, so we're going to use Sapphire Blue. And I'm going to drop some drops fairly close together. This is the Piñata ink. Okay. And this is on Yupo. Alright, so we're looking at getting some flower forms. Sorry, my nose is itching. Let's add some magenta, Senorita Magenta. Sandy, that might not sound right. Alright, so we're putting some of that on, which is also dark. So we're just going to see what that does for a minute. And then I'm going to add some, this is shell pink. Let's add some shell pink from the Adirondack line. See if we can get it to react. I don't know if you're going to be able to see it, but it's right here. Can you see? It starts like a stone thrown in the water, and it's starting to ripple out. And then let's, just for Sandy Jones, and those of you that don't like gold, let's use silver. It's handy to have a technical department on staff, isn't it? Okay, so we've added some Adirondack silver mixative. This was silver mixative. Okay. And you kind of have to watch it to see what it does. See how it's going to move around a little bit. And just for grins, let's put 1 drop of blending solution in this one over here and just see what it does. Okay, do you see that? All right, we're going to do it again. Oh, got 2 drops. See, that's the one thing about these. You can't always control the number of drops. You can try to, but it will do what it wants to do. The containers are the boss of themselves. You are not the boss of them. You can try all you want to make these behave the way you want them to, and they may or may not. But when you're looking at this in person, it is doing the most magical things of the moving and the, it's incredible. Okay, this is doing something interesting. Let's add another drop or 2 and see what it does. And then you can kind of tilt them a little bit. Sometimes that'll go where you want it to, sometimes not. And sometimes you just make a big mess out of it. So when you do, keep going. If you make, what is it Shannon Green says? Make it once, it's a mistake. Make it a whole bunch of things, do it a whole bunch of times, it's an effect. So, we got an effect, people. We got an effect. We got an effect. All right, let's do that one more time. Just see if we can get something else out of it. So you can use Q-tips or cotton buds or whatever they're called. You can use them to do some blending and to draw into the inks. So let's keep going. Since we got an effect going on here, let's go for the effect. Let's go for it. Now, this will work. You can manipulate the ink to a certain extent while it's wet. When it gets dry, you're done. You're going to have to put blending solution or the color extender or something on your swab to get it to move. As long as it's wet, and the mixatives in my experience will stay wet longer than the inks because they're a different product, different formulation. Okay, so we're going to call that good. All right. And so if you want to, you can add more. Actually, we'll do that. Why not? Why not? Let's add some more. Let's do some, what else do I have here? I have lime or something, lime green. We'll add some lime green to this and see what happens. This is also Piñata color. This is lime. Remember, I'm working on Yupo paper, so this is a synthetic paper. Okay, so we'll see what that does. And I've got some ink here that I'm going to wipe up just to see if I can keep my hands out of it. Get up the excess. Okay, so let's drop something else into the green. How about let's drop in some sunshine something. What'd Travis say? Let's go crazy, folks. Let's go crazy. That's right. Okay, so I dropped in some sunshine yellow from the Ranger product, and I'm trying to keep these a little bit separate just to see if I could. Let's put some sunshine yellow in some of the in-between spots. Now here it could go terribly wrong, but At any point in time, it could go terribly wrong. And that's when you cut it down and make smaller things out of it. I'm telling you, I can get mesmerized just watching it. So I can just sit here and just watch it happen. So, yeah. If I stop talking, you know why. Hi, Eileen. Nice to see ya. Okay, so what else shall we do? Let's drop another color into the gold. Okay, the Ranger has a white mixative called Snowcap. Also has a mixing ball in it. So we're just going to drop some Snowcap into the yellow ones. And then they have another one that's called Pearl. And this is the Pearl mixative. So once it's mixed up well, I'm going to drop some of it in the green. And then when it dries, we'll take a look at it and see if we can see the difference between the white and the pearl. Okay, so I'm just going to let that just sit for the time being, and we may do something else with it here in a little bit, but let's just pull that aside. Now this is on the Yupo, the white Yupo paper, okay? That's white Yupo. So let's use a piece of translucent Yupo. I think I have some of that here. So we're just playing with the different ones. So this is, and I know I can't, it's so big I can't get it down low enough, but this is translucent Yupo. It's 9 by 12 sheets, and I cut them down. Okay, so I just cut down the size of the sheets. And to clean up your surface somewhat, you can't ever get all this stuff off, but to clean it up somewhat, use the alcohol, the strong alcohol. Got some big old scratches on my craft mat. I don't know what in the world I did that with. Who could imagine? Okay, so the way that I did this flower form, okay, this flower shape, we're going to try this again and we'll see if it happens. I can't make any guarantees, but let's try it. I used the Piñata. I even wrote it down. Let's see if I can read my notes. Okay. I used the Purple Passion from the Piñata. Okay. Okay, so I got 5 blobs of Purple Passion. Then I'm going to drop some of the color extender, the Piñata color extender, in the middle. Okay, and we'll let that roll around in there. We're going to see it's not doing what it did the first time, so when in doubt, add a little bit more. Or we'll add some of the extender into the blobs out here. Okay, let's see what happens. As I said, you cannot necessarily repeat it. All right, let's play with the swab. See if we can get it, see if we can encourage it a little bit. Encourage it. Okay, so we've got more of a flower form going on. Then I'm going to drop one, I'm going to try to put 1 drop of the Piñata Gold in the middle. Okay, wish me luck, I want 1 drop. And that's where the magic starts going crazy. 1 drop, and that's what it did. I find it fascinating. Am I silly to think this is cool? But I do. I just think it's amazing, and it's just dispersing. I can't hold it up to the other camera because I have to hold it vertically, and if I do, it's going to run all over the place. But I'll show it to you when it's dry. I promise it's cool. Thanks. Ruth says, break a leg, Barb. I know, it's just incredible what it does. You know, and my favorite part of this experiment is it starts out looking like crap. And you go, this is a fail. This is an epic fail. And the next thing you know, you look at it and you go, that might be something after all, you know. What do you think? Do you think that's cool? I think it's amazing myself. I think it's amazing. All right, let's see if we can do that with red. All right, so we got purple going on. Let me see if I can set this off to the side. Usually it sets up fairly quickly. Now this is kind of a waste of all of this Yupo, so when this dries, I may come back and add some more to it. I don't know. You know, some more flower forms. We'll see. All right, let's go for red this time. We have Santa Fe red, and we have, how about Senorita Magenta? Let's do that. You need these inks in your life. I know. All right, so let's put some, let's kind of work over here and see if we can get 2 on this piece, just to see if we can. All right, so I'm going to let those kind of flow out. We'll try it over here, and we'll turn it around, see if we can get another one on this side. What do you think? Think we can? Let's do a different color, though. How about we do yellow on this side? It'll be interesting to see if this works. So I'm trying to get kind of this similar, but see what this does around the outside? I didn't touch that with the swab, so I'm not doing anything with it. And see what it does? It does this just lovely lacy look. It's doing it here in the yellow. Look, it's working so far. Okay, so let's add, as I did before, see if it works again. I'm going to add 1 drop of the color extender in the middle. See what it does. Now you can really see it on this one. You can kind of see it on the yellow one too. I know. They're cool, aren't they? Let me put the lid on the blending solution since I'm not using it for the moment. And now in these, all right, let's play with this. What else should we do? Let's try. This could go badly. This could go badly. Or it could go well, you just don't know. Let's try 1 drop of sapphire blue in the middle of that and see what happens. All right, I'm going for 1 drop. Okay. Kind of cool. I love how it's like the rings in the water, you know. Okay, over here we're going to have to do something in great contrast to this. So let's do a drop of chili pepper in this one. Well, Ruth, we hope not. Okay, so that's 1 drop of chili pepper in that one. And you can see how strong this color is and how much it's taking over. But the red is still present. Let's drop a drop of, let's try copper in this one. So this is what I'm going to put in here is the Ranger Adirondack copper. I got to get the ball broken loose. You got to shake it until you got to shake it or tap it until that ball gets loose, because the ball is what mixes the mixative and the pigment. It breaks loose a minute and then it does something weird. Come on. Work with me, baby. Work. There we go. Whew. Thought it wasn't going to work. Okay. We're going to put 1 drop, or try for 1 drop of copper in the middle of that. See what happens. All right. I'm going to make myself stop at 1 drop, okay? Don't touch it. Don't let me touch that. Okay. And on this one, let's put in 1 drop of white, the snow cap. Okay. Now, I've been doing all of this ink, and I do have a little bit of ink on my fingers, but really, for as much as I've done, I don't have all that much stuff on my hands. So just so you know, you don't necessarily get too much stuff on your hands. Okay. You know, you don't have to get too much on your hands. I'm going to put, the copper's not doing what I want it to do, so I'm going to add a drop of gold into the middle of it. That's just not exciting. It's not exciting, so let's put a drop of gold in it. When you see it up close, that gold is like it. Do you know how it is when you add baking soda and vinegar together and they all of a sudden just go, you know, or baking soda and buttermilk and they just have this reaction where everything just starts immediately bubbling? That's what it's doing. Is that wild? I know. Okay, it's going to only do as much as it's going to do. It's not going any further. So we're going to encourage it. All right? We're going to encourage it. So I'm going to go back to the swab that has gold on it. Or I could get a new one, but I'm going to use the same one. And I'm going to come around here and put some gold out here in the blue. And we're just going to see if we can get a little bit more something, something. And see where the ink is wet, right there, it reacted. The rest of the time it's just staying nice and the gold staying where I put it. So that's good information when you're working with this stuff, because then it's like, oh, I have to wait till it's drier to be able to do that, to get it to do what I want it to do, you know, depending on what it is you want it to do. So I'm just adding a few gold spots here and there. Then we can come back with the white pen and add some more detail to it or what have you. Okay, so we'll leave that one alone. Maybe on this one over here, this was the one I dropped white into the middle of, and you can see how it's gone to a different color, right? So what if we put some black on a cotton swab? And let's see if we can get this to look like those little pollen things around the center of the flower. Getting further and further apart and more random as it comes out. Okay, so we've added a little center kind of thing there. And then let's go back to the gold and add some gold right into the middle of this. See if there's any gold left on this. Let's just add some gold. On top of the black. Okay, I'll show these to you close up. I think they're dry enough. I can tip them now safely. Whoops, hold on a minute. Okay, there we go. Okay, so you can kind of see the gold. And these are mostly the Piñata inks, not totally. On the translucent Yupo paper. Okay, so there's that one. Add a happy little tree. Thanks. Thanks for that, Race. Thanks. Always somebody to make fun of what you're doing, right? This is the other one, which I drew into the wet ink with the Q-tip. Now, the one of these is the translucent, or the pearl ink, and the other one is the white, and I don't know which one now. Maybe one of you guys remember. Oh, the pearl, I think, is in the green. Let's see if we can tip it so you can tell the difference. Now, I'm just going to blind you. But there is a definite difference in this that's very pearlized when you see it in person, and this one, which the white doesn't have that pearly look. It just has a glossy look. Don't think you can tell, but trying to catch it, so you can almost tell it. But anyway, fun, huh? Okay, so let's do, what else have we got? Oh, here's another thing to play with, and that is vellum. Okay, so this is just plain vellum, nothing fancy. Barb Ross. Oh, Ruth, that was terrible. That was terrible. Terrible. Okay, so I'm going to cut this apart. So this is 8.5 by 11, so I'm just going to cut it into quarters. Race. Now he's trying to butter me up. He says now he likes it. Too late, Race. Too late. Barb Ross. Oh, that's what you like. Yeah. I thought you were trying to say you liked what I did, but no, you like Barb Ross. Okay, so what else do we want to play with? Let's see. Oh, I know what we want to do. We want to do a background. We want to do something like this. All right, let's do this background. See if I can recreate that. This will be good, even though I wrote it down. Let's see. Got to see where my notes are here. I don't know. We're just going to go for it. I lost my notes. Okay, I'm going to switch the felt out. So I'm going to put another felt on the tool. And let's start with some darker colors. Let's start with some pool. Okay, so I'm going to do pool. And stream. And let's just go for it. So I only put 2 colors on here. And this is vellum. So we're going to see how this works with vellum, because I didn't do this on vellum before. Before I did it on the translucent Yupo. So Trina says that she used to do the birch trees on tiles. Yeah, if you guys have specific questions about the alcohol inks, if you ask Rach in the chat, she is probably about the most knowledgeable person here, certainly more knowledgeable than I am, about the alcohol inks. So ask questions of Miss Rach. And Xandra likes using the alcohol inks on electrical tape. The silver stuff, right? Right, Xandra? Okay, that color was Meadow, and let's do some citrus with this. So we get some blues and greens going. Yeah, Patty did some great tiles. She sure did. Patty Tolly Parrish they're talking about. Adding some blending solution with some greens now, and let's add some of that into this. I mean, how can you not like that? You know, that is a cool effect, isn't it? Okay, don't go too far. Stop yourself. Stop yourself right now. Okay, so this is on vellum. Okay. Let me show it to you up close. Now you can see my fingers behind it because it is vellum, but you got the idea, right? So is that not some of the coolest stuff? Mm-hmm. I know. It is, isn't it? All right, let's see if we can do some of these flowers like this. Let's see if we can do some of these flowers like this. I'm going to use a piece of this fun foam, and I'm going to work with, what color shall we use? Well, let's just go back to the purple because I know that that worked pretty well. So we'll go back to purple. I'm going to use the purple Twilight. Okay. So I'm going to put it on the corner of the fun foam, just a scrap, right? And then I'm going to draw with the fun foam. Again, please wish me luck. Again, I did this on the translucent Yupo before. So we're going to see what happens on the vellum. Okay, so we're going to leave that one alone. Marginally successful. Go to the next one. You want to stay right on the corner of the fun foam. If you let it lay down too much, that's when you get the fat petals. And if you get too much alcohol ink on the fun foam, that's when I found you got fat petals too. And who wants fat petals after all? Okay. All right, so we got that one. Okay? That's all there is to it. It's very scientific. Then I'm going to put on a little bit more. Maybe take a smidge of that off. I got a lot. And let's do one in the corner. Ah, maybe pulling it from the outside in is better. Let's try that. Okay, put a little bit more. I'm just dabbing some of it off on this extra piece and then kind of using it like an ink palette, like an ink pad to pick it up. Okay, let's add some coming off. Okay, we're going to stop there. You get the idea, right? Hi, Joanne. My arty farty fairy friend. I love your name. I love the name. It is a great name. Okay, what's Rach talking about? Use lots, and that would be cool. I've done it with 2 pieces of glossy paper. I missed what Rach was talking about. Okay, so that's something that I'm going to let sit. That's done on the Vellum, which it worked pretty well on the Vellum. It works a little better on the translucent Yupo, but you know, that's not too bad. So at that point, let it sit and let it completely dry. Okay, so let's pretend that these are the same. They're not quite, but they're a reasonable facsimile. Okay, and then this one is well dried. So I'm going to come back and I'm going to use my white. This is the Uniball Signo pen in white. And I'm going to come back and I'm going to just add some details, which I'm sure you won't be able to see very well, but because my camera's not down close enough for you, but I'll show it to you up close in a minute. So I'm just going to use my pen kind of in a vertical, make sure it's working, in a vertical position. And just kind of loosely outline the petals. And in this one I put some spots around, and I did that just with the corner of that craft foam. And if you want to vary the intensity of white, then go back and forth between the Uniball pen and the Jelly Roll, the white Jelly Roll pen. That has a different line width and a different kind of white. It's not quite as white as this one is. So you can get a difference in that. Difference in color. Okay, so we'll go over here and we'll do a couple more. But what I'm doing right here that's very, very white, this is done with the Signo pen. What's not quite as white over here, that was done with the Jelly Roll. So whatever you prefer. So just doodle your little heart out. So we're just going to let that one just be a doodly flower instead of a petal flower. What happens if you use the inks on porous papers? The porous papers, the color is not as brilliant. This is porous paper that I did this color chart on, and the inks don't spread like they do on the non-porous paper. So, but you certainly can. Why not? All right, so let's go to this one. This one we did earlier today. We'll see whether this is dry enough to do anything. These are abstract flowers, folks. Abstract. But the white, I think, just adds a different dimension. Well, honestly, Trina, I hadn't thought about it either until I was messing around with it last night, and I thought, I wonder what would happen, because, you know, I enjoy the embellishment process, and I thought, I wonder what would happen. So I started out using the white Jelly Roll. I started out using actually a black Sharpie marker, and that works. So it gives you a different effect. And then I started using the white Jelly Roll pen, and that worked pretty well. And then I thought, well, I wonder what would happen with the white Signo pen. So I used it, and it's like, that gave it a much brighter white. Of course, it's a thicker line, you know, but I think it's kind of fun. So I'm just kind of outlining the shapes as I see them. So were any of you here last week for the creative chat with Lindsay, the frugal crafter? That was a fun chat with her, I thought. Did you guys enjoy that, I hope? I'm going to try to have one of those chats once a month. We'll see, depending on who I can get in touch with. I have some communication out with some folks that are busy traveling, so they're going to work it in when they have a chance. But I think it's fun to get to know other artistic people and hear what makes them tick, don't you think? Yeah, that would be great. Rach, would you be, nothing like putting her on the spot. You don't have to answer. But Rach, who is in the chat, I would love to have the chance to have a creative chat with Rach. So see how much that changed that? I mean, just completely changed it by adding the white. Completely changed it. Okay, let's try this one, which has... Okay, this seems to be done. Let's see about adding black to this one. See where my Sharpie is. Rach said yes. Oh, she's chatting with Sandy. Rach, I will not hold you to that. I will not hold you to that. All right, so what I'm doing is using the black, this is just a black Sharpie marker. And so I'm just doing some outlining. Around the shapes. And then let's try, this one probably needs to dry a little bit longer. Add some line work. In sections, not everywhere, but just sections of, and then maybe some pollen dots, because these are kind of abstract flowers, so we'll just put some pollen dots on here. I do have a gold and a silver Sharpie, or gold and silver Signo pens, and I did not find that they worked well on these at all, so I gave up on that. So here is what I'm doing, so you get the idea. Okay, down here. So it just gives it a different effect than using the white. I think the pen is kind of fun. I think the pen is kind of a fun addition. All right, we'll do a couple more of these, and then we'll see if we can actually make a card or two. So I'm just picking up the various colors and just adding a little bit of detail with the black pen. So you could do just that, just the black outlines. We'll do a few of those just that way. And we'll do one more over here, then I'll let you look at this, and then we'll see if we can make a card. Maybe we can sew a card. What do you think? Does that sound good? Because this could be bloody boring to watch this. Of course. Okay, so just showing you what this looks like after I've added some of the black lines around it. Okay, so I do like this addition of some of the black straight lines. I think it gives it some nice detail and some, just something different to look at. So I kind of like that. But, it's all a matter of what you like, and, do you like to doodle? If you don't, that's fine. Then don't do it, Just don't do it. Let's see. I don't know whether this one's dry enough. Let's take a look at it. This one has got a lot of ink on it. This one is not dry enough to, we're going to leave this one alone. It needs to dry a while because I put so much ink on that one. Let's look at these flowers. Do I have other flowers? Yeah, I have one more. So I have these 3 flowers here. So let's see. I hesitate to touch them. It's not bad. It's not bad. I think it's okay. Okay, on this one, I'm just going to do a doodly outline with the black around it. Purposely outside the flower petal. Just to give it a little bit of a border. Okay? And then I'm going to leave that one alone. I'm not going to do anything else to it because I like it. Bye, Race. See you later. Okay, what about this? Nope. Do you see that? I just smeared that. Bad news blues. We got to go back and fix that a little bit. Just smeared it. Like I said, you got to be careful. Got to be careful. So let's go back and put a little bit of gold back on that. See if we can make that work again. Always better to let them sit until they are fully dry. Instead of trying to make them do something that they don't want to do on stream. So I'm just going to pat some of the gold around in this. Because if it starts out looking a little messy, you know, or you make a mistake like that, then you got to make it look like you did it on purpose. So it's not perfect, but it's better than it was. Okay, so we're going to leave that one alone because it needs to just sit. Okay, this has got to completely dry. All right. So let's look at some of these things and let's see if we can make some cards out of them, shall we? So maybe we'll take, this one would be kind of a fun one used on a card. This could be fun. We might do that. We might do one of these. Not so sure about that one. All right. So if we do a couple of these and then maybe we'll do this one. All right, let's see. I think it's dry. I think it's dry. This one will be easy to cut down. This one I'm going to have to do a little bit of figuring on. Let's add a little bit of black pen to these just to kind of define them a little bit. So we'll define this just a little bit here. Obviously, I can't talk and do this at the same time. Okay, so that just gives it a little bit of a definition. Not much, but a little bit. Okay, and maybe we'll do a little bit of the same thing on this one. I think it's dry enough. So this is just a plain black Sharpie marker. Just going for the, and you're not going to see much of this. You'll see a little bit. Okay, so we've got a little bit of detail on there. Not too much, but a little bit. Abstract. No, as long as it's dry, it doesn't mess up the tip of the Sharpie. At least that's been my experience so far. I mean, it could change tomorrow, but it's been my experience so far. I'm not an experienced alcohol ink person yet. Mostly I'm just playing with them, getting used to how they behave, which is, it's a challenge to get used to them. Quite honestly, it's a challenge. Okay, so let's cut some of these down and see if we can make some cards out of them. Shall we? All right, so I'm going to cut them down to be like this one. Okay, so we did this one. I did this one earlier. So I cut this piece down to 3 3/4 by 5, I believe, but let's measure to make sure. You don't really want to use the heat tool to dry it because they're alcohol and you could cause them to flame up. Yeah, it's not a good idea. Okay, so 3 3/4 by 5. So let's see what we got going on here. 3 3/4. Where's this going to be? Okay, so I'm going to cut. So I'm going to cut a little bit off of each side. That is, unless I mess up the measurements, which is always possible. It's always possible. And then I'm going to go 5 inches, so let's see where that's going to put this. That'll be fine. And I let it slip a little bit, so let's see if I can... It's not enough to mess with, so we're going to call that one good. The next one, maybe this one, let's see, 3 3/4 by 5. Okay. Let's take 1/4 of an inch off this. 1/4 of an inch off this one, off this side. Okay, and then I want... I don't know if this is fun for you guys or not, but I'm having a fun time. I'm having fun with these, I have to say. Okay, so I've got a couple of those. Those are the Vellum pieces. This is the translucent Yupo. Okay, let's see what will happen here. 3 3/4. See where this is going to land. Not bad, not bad. All right, we'll do that. Okay, 3 3/4. See where it lands with 5. Not too bad. We'll just do that. Okay, so we have that one. And then let's take a section of this one. This is also Yupo. This is the transparent Yupo. This was the white Yupo. And then, of course, when you have little bits like this, you can use that on other things. And let's do 3 3/4. Okay, do I want it that way or do I want it this way? Okay, so we have that little piece cut down. All right, let's see what we can do here. Rach needs a 48-hour day. So do I. So do I. That is a fact. Okay, let's take some. I just have some solid cards here, and so we're just going to play with the colors. I played with them against white and I played with them against colors, and I thought that the colors looked better. So hey, we're going to go with colored. All right. So let's see what we have here. Let's see what we have here. We'll try a dark color and we'll try a light color. Okay, which do you like better for this one? I'm going to let you guys vote. I'll let you all choose. Okay, yellow or blue. Okay, here's the yellow. And there's the blue. Majority rules, yellow or blue. Hi, Jean. Okay, there's yellow. And there's blue. Jean says blue. So far, Jean's the only one that cares. All right, several blues, couple of yellows, mostly blue. Boy, it's close. Is the stormy sky a good thing, Eileen? Boy, you guys, it is tied right down the middle. It is right down the middle. Is the stormy sky a good thing? There's the blue. Here's the yellow. It is a toss-up. It really is. The yellow brightens it. Yeah. The blue has a more dramatic look. Now Eileen's gone to yellow. Okay. All right, we'll do yellow for this one. Okay, let's go for this one. What do I have here? I don't have any oh yeah, I do have a purple. I have this purple. Let's see how this looks. What do you think? I think hands down that. Never mind. You guys don't get a vote on that one. That works. Okay, so we have blue. We have a pinkish color. What other colors do we have? Turquoise. Turquoise. Okay, we're putting that one on that because I like that. All right, this one, this purple. What are we going to put this purple on? Purple on the yellow. I love having these colors because it just makes a big difference in when you put them on. Nope, don't like that. Don't like that one. Woo! Yuck. Ba-bum, ba-bum. Beth wants pink. You like it on the pink? Okay, we'll put it on pink. All right, so we've got those. Red eye. Okay, so I'm going to put a smidge of tape on the back of these. The vellum ones I may not. I don't know. I'm going to put a little tape. Just enough to hold them in place here. Make sure my card's in pretty good shape, because these are just inexpensive card bases. And that's got some crud around there. I may have to do something. Oh well. It's just an example. Okay, so that will just kind of help hold it in place. It's not terribly stable, but it's just enough to hold it. All right, let's see whether this will work. I'll put it in the dark. Just a little bit of double stick tape. Just a smidge. Okay. Again, just a little bit. This is the Yupo. Just enough to hold it until I get it stitched. Because we're going to stitch them on the sewing machine. Okay. That one's done. Don't have to do that one. Alright. If the tape shows on the vellum, I wish I'd not done this, but you know, hey, Okay, got it. So let me readjust here. I got to get my sewing machine, pull it up. You guys can talk amongst yourselves for a minute. We'll stitch them up and call it a day. Okay, this is what we're going for. Okay? All right. So let me move my ugly board off so you can see the ugly mat underneath. Okay, make myself some room here. The blue one needs your address on it. That's good, Linda. You can't blame a girl for trying, can you? Okay, let me switch cameras here. All right, just setting up my sewing machine, so give me just a second. Of course, the cord that was not tangled when I brought it in here, when I picked it up, the Studio Gremlins came by and tangled the cord, so I got to undo the cord. You guys have Studio Gremlins? Please say I'm not the only one. We have variegated pink thread in the machine currently, and that's what I'm going to use, at least to get started. Then we may change it. Okay. They make a mess in your room. I'm glad I'm not the only one. I'm telling you, sometimes. Okay, let me get rid of this camera because it's not cooperating right now anyway. All right, we're going to go to the pink one. Okay, so we're going to use this one. And I'm going to stitch around the outside edge. So I'm just opening up the card. Turn on the machine. I'm going to set the stitch length about a stitch length of 3. If you're a sewer, you'll know what I'm talking about. And I'm going to run my presser foot as a guide. I'm going to find a place for a guide. I'm going to figure out where I'm going to start. I'm going to start over on the side that's not quite as obvious. And I'm going to stitch around the edge of the Yupo. And you got to go rather slowly so you don't get too wild and stitch where you don't want to stitch. I'm using a size 90 needle. It's a regular sewing needle. Let's see if I can pull this up a little more. You can see just a smidge more. Then when I get back to where I started, I'm going to go very slowly. And if I have to adjust, I will, but I want to hit the same stitching holes, needle holes, that I did when I started, and stitch right back into those same holes for 5 or 6 stitches. Okay? Alright, so once I get the threads pulled out, then I'm just going to cut the threads, and then I'll trim them all up in a little bit. Okay, so there's that one. Oh, sorry, blind you again. There's that one. You can see how highly reflective they are. Pretty amazing. Alright, so I think I'll use the same pink thread on this one because I think it'll work okay. So I don't have to change threads too many times. So I'm going to do the same thing. And you know, if things twist and turn a little bit, which they did on that last one I just did, I'm not going to sweat it. These are handmade. And if somebody doesn't like it who receives the card, then I'm sorry. I'm sorry they don't like it. Now the stickier the ink, because this is sticking, this is going over, where this one was just going over the plain paper, this is going over the inked paper. It doesn't like it as well because it is stickier on the bottom of the foot. So if you had a Teflon sewing machine presser foot, this would be a good place to use it. I don't have one, or I'd put it on. So I am encouraging it a little bit more than I normally would from the back. Okay, so once again, when I get to where I began, I'm going to endeavor to stitch in exactly the same holes. Which didn't work out exactly that way on this one because the machine isn't as happy going over all the alcohol inked areas. Send the spider to Barb. No. Oh no. Okay, let's rethread and choose a different color thread. Let's see what I have. I should have some pretty blue variegated thread. Let's see what I got. That'll work. Let's see if I got bobbin thread that'll work. Yep. Close enough. Okay. Let me thread up my machine here. I'm using King Tut variegated thread, which is cotton thread, my favorite thread, for doing much of the decorative stitching work that I do. I love King Tut thread. Not cheap. You get a lot on a spool, but I do love it. I love the variegation. I love the color palette. I just love it all the way around. So there you go. I don't have any black thread in here. I'd have to go in where the sponsors are, and once I open the door, they're coming out, and that gets ugly quickly. Okay, so let's go for this one. I'm going to start over here. All right, here we go. Now, of course, you could use some kind of adhesive. With the vellum, you're going to have to use something special, some kind of special vellum adhesive, so it doesn't show through. Come on, be cooperative now. Sometimes you have to talk to your machine. And I'm going to have to do some creative something over here because I've got a smudge on this one. It happens, and you just have to fix it. All right, one more and then we're done with these cards. So we did the alcohol ink thing and made something out of it. And I'm going to use the same thread because I think it'll work just fine. And I like using the stitching. It just gives another little dimension. It's fine. It's good enough. Gives another little dimension, puts a border around it. You could use a decorative machine stitch as long as it's not, it doesn't perforate the paper too many times. It's the needle marks, the perforation of the paper that will cause it to fall apart. All right, we are done. So I'll trim up the threads here, move the machine out of the way. All right, let's trim up the threads. Anybody have any questions before I go? And what I will do on the back sides of these is where the threads begin and end, I'll put a tiny little bit of glue right here on the back side, and that ensures that that thread's not coming out. I'll show you what I mean. Use a tiny little bit of Aleene's tacky glue, just like that. And then let that sit open just for a little bit. I mean, 30 seconds or 45 seconds, and it'll be fine. Okay, but that will keep that thread from trying to come out. So we'll just set that up like that. And then I'll finish doing the little glue business off camera. But that way you can see them trimmed up. So there's that one. Okay. And what I'm going to do on this, I'm looking for my pins. Looking for my pins. Hang on just a second. over here where I've smudged it. I don't know if you can see that. Is where I'm going to put my signature. Call it good. See? Lemons out of lemonade. Lemonade out of lemons, I mean. Yeah. All right, trim up this one. Got to give everything a haircut so it looks nice and tidy. Okay, there's that one, and we have one more. And this one may be off-centered. Well, and there's a smudge here, so that'll be a great place to sign it too. So, if you have issues, right here it's smudged a little bit, so we're just going to put my name right here. Like that. Okay? And put the date under it. Okay? That way, nobody is the wiser. No one is the wiser. You don't tell them. Okay, so I just put the date on that. Nobody says you have to put it in the same place. And if you've got one that's busy like this one, then I'll just sign it on the back of the card. And I'm going to use a bigger pen because that tip on that one is not big enough. Always sign your work. Always, always, always sign your work. Okay? And then we'll do it on this one. This one's off center just a little bit, so I'm going to put it over here. And that pen is going to need to dry well, so I'm going to try really hard not to smudge them. Okay. So let's take a look at them. Up close and personal, and then we're going to go. Okay, so here's this one. Okay, and this one. And this one. And this one. And of course this could go this way. You know, they don't have to be horizontal. They can be vertical. I just tend to do them horizontal. I don't know why. And then there's that one. And there you go. All done. Okay, you have any questions for me? If you do, it's a good time to ask them, and I'll get the sponsors. My camera that is the sponsor cam is not working today, so it will be a little challenging for you guys to see them today, but we must bring them out. I made you want inks? Cool. I'm glad that it was not a horrible experience for you. Okay, let me get the sponsors and then we're done. And I have to tell you, my body is tired, so I'm glad to be done today. Alright, you coming out? Are you coming out? Alright, come here and say goodbye to the world. Come here and say goodbye to the world. Yeah. You got to say goodbye to everybody, and then we're gonna go. Yeah. Okay. You gotta stand up really tall today. They're a lot less messy. Well, they can be really messy. Let me tell you. I did control them fairly well today, which I wasn't sure if that was going to be possible. I know they're used to coming out and laying on the table in a certain place and looking right in the camera. That's just what they do. The camera's not there, so we got to do this. We got to do this today. So you can say, oh, we got crud on your face. Honestly, come here. Yes. Okay, I know you want to lay down because that's what you always do, but you got to be up here and say goodbye to the world, okay? This is Charlie. He says, I'm done. He's done. Come here, Chance. Come here. Kitty, kitty. Come here, Chance. Come here. Come here and say goodbye. You can close it out. Yeah, you can close it out and say goodbye to everybody. Okay, and here's old Chanceroo. This is old Chanceroo with his tiny little tummy. They both are they're gaunt, people. You really should feel sorry for them. We should take up a donation so you guys can send money for food because they're just starving to death. Starving to death, I tell you, starving to death. All right, we're going to go. Thanks for hanging out with me on Drama Free Friday. And I will see you all next week. Same time, same place. I don't know what we're doing, but come back and find out. And I'll see you then. Remember to get creative today because, it's easy. See you next time. Bye.